Okay, let's unpack this. In the dizzying, often unpredictable landscape of modern business, right?
Right.
Where innovation is constant and markets shift by the minute, how do companies truly achieve not just growth, but sustainable, explosive growth?
Mm-hmm.
It's the holy grail everyone is chasing, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Well, our deep dive today uncovers a fascinating answer. There's a powerful new titan emerging in the C-suite, specifically tasked with this very mission.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We're talking about a role that's rapidly becoming far more than just a new title. According to LinkedIn, it's the fastest growing C-suite role.
Yeah, and the top BD title.
Exactly. The speed and significance of its ascent are pretty surprising, really.
What's truly fascinating here is observing how quickly this role has moved from, relative obscurity to a position of paramount importance.
Right.
It reflects a fundamental, indeed, a profound shift in how corporations prioritize their objectives. We're discussing a role whose first known appearance in published records was quite recent, May 10th, 1997, in Calgary, Canada, to be precise.
1997, wow.
Yeah. Yet, fast forward, and it's now consistently listed as a LinkedIn fastest growing job across multiple years. 2020, 2022, 2024.
And even projected for 2025.
And projected for 2025. This isn't just a fleeting trend. It's a structural transformation in how businesses approach their core objective, growth. It signals an evolution from merely growing to actively designing for growth.
Exactly. And our mission today is to pull back the curtain on this pivotal role. The Chief Growth Officer, or CGO. We'll trace its historical roots, dissect its core mission, understand how it fundamentally reshapes the C-suite hierarchy by stacking up against other executive roles.
Yeah, how it fits in.
And most importantly, we'll explore what this dramatic shift means for you as a business developer navigating this dynamic landscape.
Right.
We've synthesized insights from a stack of insightful documents, extensive studies, and industry analyses give you a genuine shortcut to understanding this powerful new force in corporate strategy.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, business development as a professional discipline is actually a relatively young field, especially when you compare it to its more established counterparts like sales and marketing.
That's a really good point.
Consider this. Historical records show us job listings for director of sales and director of marketing appearing as early as the mid-1800s.
Mid-1800s.
Yeah, these were well-defined traditional roles. In stark contrast, the first recorded director of business development only emerged much later on January 25, 1923, at the San Francisco Stock Exchange.
1923, so quite a bit later.
Much later. This truly puts into perspective just how recent the professionalization and formal recognition of business development as a distinct function really are. It signifies a slow but deliberate maturation of how companies think about generating new revenue streams beyond just direct sales or, marketing campaigns.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting and quite telling for anyone in business development, I think. Historically, the sheer volume of sales and marketing positions absolutely dwarfed the number of business development roles. Sales and marketing were, the dominant forces.
Great question.
But a fascinating, almost seismic shift began in the 1960s. That decade saw the growth rate of new sales and marketing leadership positions peak.
Right, it leveled off.
And then, quite dramatically, it dropped rapidly around the year 2000. Meanwhile, business development positions just exploded onto the scene. They grew rapidly throughout the 1980s and 1990s.
And that acceleration just kept going.
And that accelerated growth for business development continues robustly to this very day. It's a clear divergence, isn't it? One profession slowing, the other surging.
It really is. And this era of accelerating BD growth ushered in a solid, increasingly defined business development career path. You could start as a business development representative, move up to director of business development.
A real ladder.
Exactly. The career path continued to evolve and mature. This progressive professionalization eventually led, in the late 1990s, to corporations finally establishing a C-suite title specifically for senior business development professionals, the Chief Growth Officer.
Right, the CGO.
As we noted, the first published CGO title was in Calgary, Canada, May 10th, 1997.
1997 again.
But its growth truly exploded after 2010. By November 2020, LinkedIn reported that the Chief Growth Officer title was the second fastest growing C-suite title.
Second fast.
Experiencing a remarkable 46% growth in just the first 10 months of that year alone. This wasn't just adding a title, it was recognizing a critical new function at the highest executive levels.
And that momentum didn't slow down. I remember seeing a February 2021 LinkedIn study that reinforced this trend. It found that the chief growth officer rivaling the chief marketing officer in recent years, the role of chief growth officer increased by 37%.
27 to yeah.
And the study highlighted that this role is about blending the expertise of marketing, sales, product development, and finance. Think about that. It's not just one silo.
No, it's integration.
It's an integration across the entire commercial engine of the company, all strategically aimed at helping businesses achieve their overarching objectives. So for you in business development, this means the CGO embodies the breaking down of traditional department walls, fostering collaboration across functions that traditionally operated, well, pretty independently.
Which raises an important question. What exactly is the core mission of a CGO?
Right, what do they do?
At its heart, it's profoundly customer-centric.
Hmm?
The CGO's fundamental purpose is, quite simply, to fight for the customer.
Fight for the customer. I like that.
They are authorized to grow the corporation by integrating across what we call the entire business development value chain.
Go.
This chain encompasses everything from initial marketing identification and lead generation through deal negotiation and closing, all the way to customer retention and expansion.
The whole life cycle.
The whole thing. Their core mandate is to strategically allocate corporate resources, not just for revenue, but to maximize customer perceptions of quality and value. It's about ensuring every touch point, every product, every service reinforces that customer value, making it a sustainable cycle.
Interesting. So they're almost like an internal disruptor sometimes.
You could say that. Challenging entrenched departments to ensure every initiative ultimately serves customer value, creating a new dynamic where traditional silos begin to crumble under the weight of, well, customer obsession.
So what does this high-level mission translate into for day-to-day operations and how a CGO actually leads?
Well, the CGO takes charge of the entire go-to-market team.
The whole GTM team.
Yeah. This means they have both strategic and operational responsibility to implement what's known as the brand trust flywheel across the entire portfolio of customers.
Brand trust flywheel. Explain that a bit.
It's essentially a cyclical model where customer trust fuels loyalty and advocacy, which in turn drives new growth. It's a continuous loop. And the CGO ensures every part of the organization is contributing to its momentum. They also integrate the business development growth model for all customers, which is a structured framework for identifying, pursuing, and optimizing new revenue streams from initial lead gen to long-term client relationships.
So they're really the engine.
They are, quite literally, the engine of the company's growth strategy, orchestrating all the moving parts.
Wow.
That's right. Their responsibilities are incredibly broad and deep, far beyond what a traditional sales or marketing head might handle. For instance, the CGO is often the most senior employee to directly communicate with crucial prospects and high-value customers.
Really? Like face-to-face?
Absolutely, effectively acting as the chief customer champion. They don't just facilitate, they actively coordinate CEO engagement and ensure a unified, high-level approach to key client relationships.
Got it.
This also includes personnel management for the entire growth team, deciding on the pursuit of entirely new markets, or allocating significant investment opportunities within existing ones. They oversee the entire BD value chain.
Everything.
From prospecting tools to customer success platforms, ensuring efficient technology implementation specifically for business development efforts. They align operations for an optimal end-to-end customer experience. And crucially, they are responsible for creating the overarching business development growth model implementation plan for the entire corporation.
It sounds like a very hands-on, deeply strategic, and supremely influential role.
It really is.
And this isn't just another C-suite role to add to the org chart. Increasingly, the CGO is seen as a first among equals.
First among equals.
This means their decisions can carry significant weight, sometimes taking precedence over other C-suite colleagues, particularly in growth-focused businesses. It really highlights that dramatic shift in corporate priorities we've been discussing.
Yeah.
A 2014 KPMG study really hammers this point home, stating unequivocally that 72% of CEOs say that the focus on growth is more important for their corporation's well-being than a focus on operational efficiencies.
72%.
Think about that for a moment. 3/4 of CEOs prioritizing growth above efficiency. That's a massive mandate that empowers the CGO unlike almost any other C-suite leader. It means the board and the CEO are looking for top-line expansion first and foremost.
Absolutely. And to support this growth mandate, typically in this new C-suite structure, the chief marketing officer and chief revenue officer report directly to the CGO.
Directly to the CGO.
As this streamlines the entire go-to-market function under one cohesive vision. Furthermore, the CGO serves as a crucial counterbalance to the chief financial officer.
The CFO.
Right. Consider it this way. The CGO drives revenue growth, relentlessly focusing on the top line, what comes into the business.
Top-line focus.
The CFO, conversely, drives cost control, intently focused on the bottom line, what's left after expenses. This creates a healthy tension.
A natural tension, yeah.
And in this evolving structure, CGOs are even outranking the chief operating officer.
Ranking the COO.
In many growth-focused firms, yes. Further reinforcing the primacy of growth over purely operational efficiency in the modern corporate landscape. It's no longer just about doing things efficiently. It's about doing the right things to drive long-term value, even if it requires significant investment upfront.
Interesting.
This dynamic ensures that while risks are managed, growth remains the primary driving force for the corporation's overall objectives.
This clean yet dynamic structure means the CEO now steps in to strategically deconflict between these two powerful, often opposing forces, right? The exponential growth mindset of the CGO.
Right, abundance.
And the more linear scarcity mindset often held by the CFO.
Exactly, preservation focus.
And nowhere is this clearer than in the Opportunity Investment Committee, or OIC. CGO actually chairs the OIC.
Chairs it, yeah.
Approaching investment opportunities with what's called an exponential growth mindset, also referred to as an abundance mindset. They champion the preservation and growth of intangible assets.
Like brand goodwill.
Yeah. Exactly. Brand goodwill, intellectual property, customer relationships. These are the assets that represent more than 50% of modern corporate value.
Over half, yeah.
So for a business developer listening, this means the CGO is pushing for investments in new markets, new product lines, or aggressive customer acquisition strategies, even if they don't have an immediate guaranteed ROI.
Right. They're playing the long game. Conversely, the CFO, along with the COO and Chief People Officer, typically approach these investment opportunities with a linear scarcity mindset.
Okay.
They argue for the preservation and efficient utilization of tangible assets, whether it's limiting risk to financial assets, maximizing the efficiency of physical assets like inventory and property, or carefully managing human resources to control costs.
So different lenses entirely.
Completely different. So while the CGO might advocate for a bold, potentially risky expansion into a nascent market, the CFO might focus on the immediate capital expenditure and potential for loss.
And the CEO had to balance that.
The CEO often becomes the final arbiter, balancing these growth opportunities with the necessary risk to corporate assets. This dynamic ensures that, while risks are managed, growth remains the primary driving force, pushing the boundaries while maintaining, financial prudence.
So all this intense focus on growth and a dedicated chief growth officer role, does it actually pay off? Is it delivering tangible results, or is it just, another trendy executive title?
That's the key question, isn't it?
Yeah. A 2019 Singular study looked precisely at this and found that brands with a CGO are indeed getting a significant return on their CGO investments.
Ah, good.
And the findings are truly instructive for anyone in business development looking at what the future holds for high-growth companies. It's not just theory. It's data-driven reality.
Okay, let's hear it. The Singular study revealed several key characteristics of CGO-led corporations that are incredibly insightful. For one, these companies tend to operate heavily in mobile-focused and tech-heavy verticals.
Makes sense. Digital first.
Indicating a forward-looking, digital-first approach to their markets. They are inherently agile and innovative. Perhaps most tellingly, they also have almost 2 times larger marketing teams compared to their counterparts without a CGO.
Twice as large. Wow.
And they spend significantly more on advertising. This isn't just indiscriminate spending, though. Furthermore, these companies demand granular, customer-level marketing data.
Down to the individual customer.
Exactly, which is absolutely critical for precise targeting, understanding customer behavior in intricate detail, and accurate real-time measurement of growth initiatives. This enables, hyper-personalization and highly efficient resource allocation.
But it's not just about spending more money, is it? It's about strategic investment capabilities and talent, too.
Precisely.
The study also found that CGO-led companies are 36% more likely to prioritize new skills training for their employees.
Investing in people.
Demonstrates a deep commitment to human capital development, ensuring their teams are equipped for future challenges. they're 65% more likely to be investing in new marketing technology,
65%. Embracing the tech.
showing a clear embrace of advanced tools and platforms to gain a competitive edge. And perhaps most tellingly, for the future of our industry, they are a whopping 48% more likely to be building AI and machine learning driven tools for marketing.
Almost 50% more likely AI and ML.
Yeah. This is where the future of business development is heading, leveraging cutting edge technology for smarter, faster, and more predictive growth. CGOs are clearly leading this charge, integrating innovation at every level.
It's important for our listeners, though, to understand that the need for a chief growth officer isn't static, it's dynamic.
Right. It depends.
The requirement for a CGO generally increases as the number of target markets expands, and crucially, it depends significantly on the specific stage of a corporation's growth. It's certainly not a one-size-fits-all solution for every company at every moment of its life cycle.
That makes perfect sense.
Meh.
Can you walk us through those phases of corporate growth and illustrate when a CGO becomes most critical and perhaps when they are less so?
Absolutely. Let's break it down by growth stage. First, during the startup phase, the need for a dedicated CGO is typically low.
Low, okay.
At this stage, founders or often highly entrepreneurial, full cycle business developers act as the de facto CGO. Their primary focus is on achieving product market fit.
Finding that initial traction.
Exactly. That sweet spot where your product or service successfully satisfies a strong market demand. They're seeking early adopters and validating core assumptions, often handling all aspects of growth themselves.
Makes sense.
Next, as the corporation enters the growth phase, where it's exploiting already proven markets with a validated product, the need for a CGO becomes medium.
Medium need in the growth phase.
Right. Here, the business development value chain begins to grow more complex as the company scales rapidly. A CGO helps manage this rapid expansion, ensuring that the initial success is efficiently replicated and that the company isn't leaving opportunities on the table within its established markets. Think of optimizing existing funnels and scaling sales teams.
Got it. And then comes the phase where the CGO really shines.
Precisely. This is where the CGO becomes truly indispensable. The expansion phase.
Expansion. High need.
Right. Here, the corporation actively seeks to exploit entirely new markets, not just grow within existing ones.
Okay, big difference.
Huge difference. This could mean launching into new geographic regions, targeting completely new customer segments, or developing entirely new product lines. The CGO is absolutely required to lead this complex discovery and exploitation.
You're driving it.
Implementing and integrating sophisticated business development integration activity processes across the entire BD value chain for these new ventures. For example, they might be orchestrating the entry into a new continent, requiring new partnerships, localized go-to-market strategies, and entirely new BD teams.
Complex stuff.
Very complex. Finally, at the maturity phase, the direct need for a dedicated CGO may actually decrease again. So, back to low.
Back to low need in maturity. Interesting.
Yeah. Once market penetration is largely maximized and the primary growth objectives have been met within all targeted markets, or if growth processes become highly automated through robust digital platforms, the direct, hands-on requirement for a CGO might lessen.
Okay.
At this point, the focus shifts more towards sustaining market share and optimizing efficiency, and BD resources might be reduced or automated if they cease to provide a meaningful return on investment for aggressive growth.
So the role might change or even disappear.
The CGO might transition roles, or the function might be absorbed back into other departments as the company enters a phase of optimizing existing revenue streams rather than creating entirely new ones.
Okay, that phase breakdown is really helpful. So after this deep dive into the fascinating world of the Chief Growth Officer, if you're a business developer wondering how to navigate the future and what this means for your career, here are our top 3 takeaways.
Let's do it. First, the CGO signifies a fundamental, undeniable shift to a growth-first corporate mindset.
Growth first. Key point.
This isn't just abstract rhetoric. It's backed by compelling data, like that KPMG study, with CEOs prioritizing growth over operational efficiency, viewing it as the most crucial element for corporate well-being and long-term viability.
Right.
This reorients the entire C-suite around the aggressive yet strategic pursuit of new revenue and market expansion.
Okay, takeaway number 1. Growth first mindset. What's number 2?
Second, The CGO role is a clear, achievable career pinnacle for business developers.
Pinnacle role.
It offers a comprehensive and integrated path from an entry-level business development representative all the way to the absolute top of the C-suite. This role organically blends and leverages the expertise of marketing, sales, product development, and finance under one single strategic leader.
Integration is key there.
Absolutely. This means your career trajectory in business development has never been clearer, nor had such direct access to shaping the highest levels of corporate strategy.
Okay, so number 2, clear career pinnacle for BD.
Yeah.
And the third takeaway.
And third, CGO-led organizations are truly at the cutting edge of tech and talent investment.
The cutting edge.
They are aggressively embracing new marketing technology, building sophisticated AI and machine learning-driven tools for marketing, and prioritizing continuous skills training for their teams.
Like we saw in the Singular study.
Exactly. This signals a deep structural commitment to advanced data-driven growth strategies that are not just shaping, but actively defining the future of business as we know it. For you, this means staying curious, staying technically savvy, and continuously adapting your skills is, well, paramount.
Okay, number 3, cutting edge tech and talent investment. Got it. So what this all boils down to is that the future of business development isn't just about closing deals anymore, is it?
Not all.
It's about integrated, strategic growth championed from the very top of the organization. So for you, our listener, the profound question becomes, how can you embody that growth mindset in your current role?
Yeah, right now.
And what steps can you take today to prepare yourself to be a part of or even lead the next generation of growth leaders within your own organization? Food for thought.
Definitely.
Thank you for diving deep with us today. We genuinely hope this exploration of the Chief Growth Officer has provided you with valuable insights and maybe an aha moment or two that sparks new ideas for your career path.
Continue to question, continue to learn, and keep pushing for growth. It's what drives everything forward.
Until next time, keep exploring.